guys, it is Aoife from Words of Clover, and this is the first clip for the Irish Readathon because today is March 1st, so I am starting my yearly Irish Readathon vlogs, which I always love to do. They're some of my favourite vlogs that I have on my channel, and they're probably the ones I actually look back at the most because I always just love looking back at what I did during this Readathon and the books I read and everything that I thought about those books. So yeah, I am really excited to officially start the Irish Readathon with this vlog. I really wanted to quickly talk about the book I'm going to be reading for the first book of the Irish Readathon, and that is going to be Homestretch by Graeme Norton. I talked about this briefly in my TBR video, but this is about a young man who, when he is, I think, either in his early 20s or when he's a teenager, a car accident with a bunch of his friends, and I think he's the only one that survives, and he basically has a lot of, I think, survivor's guilt and a lot of kind of complex feelings about this accident and even like being in the small towns they're from, and it's just very, very hard for him. And I think this might take place a few years later when maybe he returns home. I think this is going to be really, really interesting, mostly because there have been a few instances like in the past, like the years that I can remember in Ireland, where there has been particular car crashes and things like that that have taken young lives, and they're always like really big deals. I mean, they should always be a big deal anyway, but particularly because Ireland is such a small country, when something of that scale happens where a lot of people will die in one particular accident, and whether it be a car crash or just a tragic accident, it's always something that really, like, you know, it's on the news, it's in the newspapers, it's something a lot of people talk about, and it's something that affects, I think, every single person when they see something like that. So I'm just going to be really interested to see how this is explored in this book, because it'll be really, really interesting. I actually also wanted to do a book unboxing because a few months ago I did do an unboxing of The Book Resort, which is a bookish subscription box in Ireland, and that one was gifted to me. But for the Irish Readathon I wanted to kind of buy a box myself, just, you know, for the Irish Readathon, supporting Irish, you know, businesses, and particularly small Irish businesses. So I really wanted to buy one of these boxes, and it's literally just came today, right on time for this vlog. So I wanted to open that on camera and we can see what I got together. I can say it smells really nice, so I think there's some sort of soap or something kind of perfumey in this, so I am excited. Okay, so we have this gorgeous handcrafted soap which smells really, really nice. It is lavender and ylang ylang, how do you say that? Yang? Oh, I don't know. Essential oil, and oh my god, this smells really, really nice. We have some milk chocolate, which I'm always up for some chocolate. And then the book I got is a thriller, I think, and it's just my luck. Thing to do with a group of friends who all play the lottery together, I think, and then two of these friends end up winning the lotto, and something happens between that group of friends and to do with this lottery win and people wanting the money. So that's actually quite interesting, because there's like, you always hear about these people who like go into a syndicate with the lottery, and I always wonder kind of like how that works, and if you win the lottery with your friends and, you know, sharing the spoils and stuff. So it might be interesting to read something similar like that, but in a more maybe like thrillery aspect. So that's interesting. Guys, it is me again, and now it is Friday. So the last time I checked in with you guys it was Monday, and then a lot of things happened on Monday evening, which meant that things just kind of went a little bit awry for the first week of the readathon, to be quite honest. So yeah, I haven't read exactly what I wanted to read. I ended up like in my parents' house for a few days as well, so I didn't actually have the books that I needed. It was just due to like a variety of reasons. I ended up having to be in my parents for a couple of days. I'll also be back there probably for the majority of next week too, so if I'm vlogging, when I'm vlogging next week, you will see the change in location, and that is why you'll also see the dogs as well in my videos, which is always a good thing. What's going on with my fringe at the moment? I have like severe lockdown fringe at the moment, where my fringe is probably like down here, and I haven't trimmed it yet, and I'm kind of afraid to trim it because it could go crooked. So anyone else who has a fringe, or bangs as they say in America, I feel you, because the lockdown has not been our friend at all when it comes to this. Obviously I had said I was going to start out with Homestretch by Graeme Norton, but then obviously on Monday night up until Wednesday night I ended up back in my mum and dad's, so I did not have this book with me. And then I had tried to read a book that I had on my Kindle called Nobber by Oisin Fagan, and I got about 15% into that, and I just was not enjoying it. I knew it wasn't going to be for me. I knew if I pulled through with it, it was either going to be like a 2 stars or a very low 3 stars. It was kind of, I saw a review of this on Goodreads because I was looking at some Goodreads reviews to see what other people thought of it, and when I was struggling a bit, and I saw some people say that it felt a little bit like almost like a Monty Python film, and I definitely understand that. There was like this crass humour to it. It's kind of like Monty Python, but like even more crude and crass, and which is fine, like I don't mind those books, but just this particular one just wasn't gelling with me at all the way it was written. So I did actually DNF that, which is very rare for me to do, and I don't think I've ever done it during an Irish readathon. So I've gotten rid of that off my Kindle because I know I'll never go back to it. And what I did was then I actually picked up a book that had been waiting for me in my mum and dad's from HarperCollins Ireland. They sent me this book when I asked for it. This is called Make Yourself at Home by Kyra Garrity. This is obviously the proof cover, which is why there isn't the cover, but I love the cover of this as well. It's so lovely. And this is about a girl, a woman, she's like 35 I think, called Manchán, who her marriage is after breaking down. Her husband has left her for another woman, and she has been caught shoplifting, which means that she's also lost her job. And so everything is just like kind of really crumbling down for Manchán. And she ends up losing her house, and she goes back to live with her mother in this house called, I think, I'm pronouncing it Ankara, but I don't know if that's correct in how the house is pronounced. But she ends up going back to her childhood home, which she hasn't really been in since she was about 15. This was just one of those books, like I wasn't feeling well during the week, and it was just one of these like weird weeks where it was stressful, like my body wasn't doing what it was supposed to do. It was like I was in pain, and like I just needed something, and this ended up being like such a tonic for me. I'm feeling much better now, by the way, but this ended up being like the tonic I needed. And Manchán ends up like meeting, like her mother has this kind of almost like group. It's kind of like AA, but it's not AA. It's called the Get Well Soon Club, and it basically does the exact same thing, where it's a group of alcoholics who get together and support each other and like do different things together. And she ends up kind of like helping out with this group, and everyone is like weird and wonderful and wacky in their own way, but they're all like just really good people. And it's just so lovely. Like I've almost finished this now. I just have like this much left. So just the very, very end of it left. And yeah, they were just such a tonic for me, and they're making me smile. And there's definitely some sad moments in this as well. There is like a content warning for a loss of a sibling, as well as family illness. But even with that, everything is kind of told through such a good humour, and there's just these like wonderful characters that I just really, really love, and lots of lovely like cliff, sea, beach scenes as well. I don't know if this is out in February. This has been out in February in Ireland, but it's not out in the UK until September, so I don't know if there's any interviews or anything with the author. But Manchán definitely reads like she is autistic or somewhere on the spectrum. Just everything, the way she thinks about things, she's very analytical. She likes numbers, she likes order, she likes like things to be the way she has them. And she's not great in terms of like, she definitely warms up to people, but she's definitely kind of prickly. So I wonder if she is actually written to be that way, or if it's just the way the character is written. But I find it really, really interesting when I meet characters like that, and it makes me think that they could be autistic. And I think it's really great as well that like the more I read books where people are written in such a way that you're able to identify it as well. My next book that I will be reading will be Homestretch, so I will be getting to this at some point over the weekend. This one I'll probably be finishing today, so I'll either be starting this today or early tomorrow. Welcome to my weekend bedhead coziness, even though I probably look like I haven't changed since yesterday, but I have. I just put this on every time I feel like I need to be a bit cozy. Saturday, to be honest, it's like Saturday afternoon now. It is like 1 o'clock and I am still just sitting in bed, haven't gotten changed. But sometimes you just need those days, and after this week, like I just like don't feel like getting up today. I just want to stay here all day and read and not do anything. I will probably get up and get changed and wander around the house at some point, but yeah, I just feel like not doing anything, and sometimes that's okay. So I wanted to check in because, as predicted, I did finish Make Yourself at Home last night, and it is like over there under a pile of stuff, so I'm not going to grab it, but I have my review and stuff already up for it. So I really enjoyed it. As I said, it was just like a tonic for me. It made me just feel nice and cozy, and it was just a joy to read. And it definitely actually reminded me, when I was writing my review, it reminded me of like the group dynamic you read about in books like the Guernsey Literary and Potato Peel Pie Society. The way this group of people are all a little bit different from each other, but all weird and wacky in their own ways. They all love and depend on each other and all help each other out, and it's a very similar type of group dynamic in Make Yourself at Home. So if you like things like that, you might like that book. So definitely recommend. I gave it 4.5 out of 5 stars. I do think a lot of my enjoyment out of it was just that it was the book I needed at this time. If I read it at a different time, maybe I wouldn't enjoy it so much, but that's the magic of books. Sometimes the right one will come along exactly when you need it. So I really enjoyed that. And then this morning I read 120 pages of Homestretch by Graeme Norton, which I talked about the other day. But I'm really enjoying this. I love Graeme Norton's writing. I think he's such a fantastic writer, and every time I read one of his books, it still surprises me that like he's like a celebrity and he's also a really great writer, because sometimes the two don't come hand in hand, and sometimes you feel like celebrities do get book deals because of who they are. But I genuinely do think that Graeme Norton is very talented when it comes to writing, and I always enjoy his books immensely. So I really can't wait to read more of this today. Hi guys, I am just out for a walk. I did manage to get up and get out because it is actually really nice out, so just take the opportunity while it's nice to go for a nice walk. As you see, the beach is lovely. There's a few people out walking, but not too many. Sometimes the weekends, like around here, is so busy. It can be kind of like you don't really want to go out because there's so many people. So it's nice when there's not that many people out, and when the tide is out and there's a lot more room on the beach as well. It's nice to be able to go out. So that's what I'm doing. I'm listening to my audiobook, which I actually haven't mentioned yet, and my audiobook at the moment is Queen of Coin and Whispers by Helen Corcoran. This is actually a book I read last year for the readathon, but I've decided to reread it on audiobook because Anna Popwell is the narrator, and for people who don't know her, she's the girl who played Susan in Narnia. Like nice, I don't know, like narrator, like a suitable narrator for this kind of fantasy book as well. But I'm really enjoying reading the story again on audiobook and kind of seeing the characters in a slightly like different way, I guess, through audiobook as well. And yeah, so like I'm really enjoying it. I do still think like one of my main, like I really like the book, but one of my main issues of it is I feel like there was a lot in it that remains unseen, and there's so much more of it I would have liked to have seen. I actually wish it was a duology or a trilogy where we could have gotten so much more in the world, because I love the world so much and I feel like there's so much opportunity to expand on the world. People who don't know what it's about, it is a female fantasy where we are following a queen who has just been coronated. Her uncle has died and she has basically inherited this kingdom that is slightly corrupt, and she's basically just trying to improve everything. And then there is another girl who is like she's kind of like a noble, but she's quite low down in terms of how good her family is, so she kind of be like the poorer side of nobles in a way. And she basically ends up getting employed by the queen to be her whispers, which is basically like her spy master. So it's kind of this female, it's basically this romance between this queen and her spy master, and the two of them are basically trying to save their kingdom, both kind of getting vengeance on people who are bad and who've done things to them, while trying to save the kingdom and just make it better for everyone. And I would really love in the future for Helen Corcoran to maybe do more. I do know there is like a novella or some sort of like really short stories connected to this book that I haven't read yet, so I do need to read that, but I would still love a whole extra book because yeah, I just think it was too great just for one book. So yeah, I think sometimes it's kind of a good thing to have for your complaint to be that you wanted more, that like you didn't just want the book, you wanted more in the
story. So yeah, and I can't wait for more of what Helen Corcoran writes as well, because I really like the way she writes. I really love the romance and the, oh, does she fancy me, I fancy her, oh, this is, I don't know about this, and all that kind of like thing between the two characters is really sweet and funny. This audiobook now and just enjoy my walk in the sun. It's still cold, as you can see. I'm still in my hat and jacket and stuff, but it is still a lovely day.
Guys, it is Tuesday evening and I just wanted to check in really quickly because I haven't checked in the last couple of days. As I said, I am back at my parents this week just for a couple of things. I needed to be over here, and you can see I'm in my old room with my old shelves. I still have quite a few books on my shelves. As you can see, not all of them came over to the apartment with me because I just didn't have the space. The last time I talked to you, I was just about finished Homestretch by Graeme Norton, and I don't know if I checked in about that and said that I'd finished it, but I did, and I really enjoyed it. I gave that one a 4 out of 5 stars. As I had said, I think Graeme Norton's stories are just really easy to read. They're just kind of like really palatable, I guess, and it's very quick and easy to get into the story, to consume the characters and just to consume the plot, and just it really just like flies by, and I really enjoyed that. And it's definitely one of those type of books that like a Saturday or Sunday morning, like almost easy reading in a way, while the story, the plot itself does focus on some tougher topics, like in Homestretch where it did look at homophobia and you know, people's internalized stigma almost about being gay, particularly in Irish Catholic communities in the 80s and 90s. And I really liked how that was explored. I really liked the family dynamics, and yeah, just a really good book, and I'm really glad that I read it for the readathon. So then I picked up the group read, which was the Henna Awards, and I finished that today, and I have really enjoyed this one as well. This again is one that does there is an outing of a gay character, as well as some homophobia from both the characters' peers in school and her parents at one point too. It did take me a while to kind of warm up to the other girl, Flavia, and see what Nisha actually really liked about her, because as I said, I don't think some of her actions at the start of the book were particularly great, but I definitely liked how a lot of the troublesome relationships and some of the complications were resolved by the end of this book, and some of it was done in like a really heartwarming way, particularly the way her parents slowly come to grips with her sexuality and like start like educating themselves about it and really branching out. And like it's just such a lovely moment when you see that start to happen in the book, and because I think people should know that happens, that it's not all like a badness, that there is this loveliness at the end of the book where, you know, her parents are starting to really accept her and learn more about the queer community. It was just a really sweet read, and yeah, I really liked it. Next book I want to start to read is 32 Words for Field by Magan, which is kind of a non-fiction book looking at the history of the Irish language, as well as looking at some forgotten words in the Irish language as well. So I read the first couple of chapters of this, and so far it's very interesting, and I can't wait to read more. And yeah, so fingers crossed that it's a good one, because I've had a good run of it so far. is currently Wednesday, March 17th, which means it is Valentine's Day. It's not Valentine's Day, it is St. Patrick's Day. So we've had the day off and I have just had a lovely chilled afternoon, which is exactly what we kind of wanted to do. And we had a lovely breakfast this morning. I made some potato farls, which I actually haven't made before. They're kind of like a potato cake, and I would normally only ever have them if I went out to like a restaurant for breakfast or in a B&B or somewhere. It's not something that I would never have made before or my mum would make or anything. So I tried them out this morning and I used a recipe from Bigger Bolder Baking, she's Irish but she's based in California and she does loads of great Irish recipes, so I will leave her link down below. I really enjoyed the potato farls that I made. They were really, really tasty, so definitely recommend them. So yeah, we started the morning off in a lovely Irish way with those, and I was just out on the beach. It is an absolutely gorgeous day, so I just went out on a tiny little walk to the beach. I was going to sit down on the beach for a while and read, but it wasn't like, it's that touch, not that warm enough. It's almost there but not quite, I don't think, in terms of relaxing properly on the beach. And there's obviously a lot of kids and families on the beach today as well, so it wasn't as peaceful as I wanted it to be. So I've come back to the apartment and I'm going to sit out on the balcony now and read for a while, because that is exactly what I feel like doing. I might make a nice cup of tea. But I want to talk about the book I finished reading last night, which was 32 Words for Field by Manchán Magan. This is a book that I really took my time reading. It took me a bit over a week to read it, and I think I'm going to give it a 4.5 stars. The only reason I'm not giving it a full 5 stars is because of my own ignorance, I guess I would say, in terms of the Irish language and some of the words that I found hard to pronounce, or that I wasn't really sure like how to exactly like pronounce them. So for that reason is why I'm not giving it a full 5 stars, but I definitely felt so invested in the book. I absolutely loved learning all these different things about the Irish language and some of the words and some of the really ancient words in the Irish language, and how ancient Irish as a language actually is. It's one of like the real indigenous languages in Europe, because it is actually quite old. I also really love the connections that Magan made with Irish and Indian and Sanskrit, and then Irish and Arabic as well, and some really amazing connections there and links that I never knew about before that were super interesting to learn about. But I'm actually thinking of doing a full video kind of reviewing the book, but also just in the context of myself as an Irish person who doesn't feel comfortable being fluent in the Irish language. I never, as I said before, I never got on with it in school, and it's something that's always been a real regret of mine, that I was never able to pick up the language like easily in school, and it's definitely something I would love to rectify at some point in my life. So I'm kind of going to do, it's kind of like a book review. Probably wouldn't be a very long book review, but a kind of book review where I'm kind of talking about that and my connection to the book as someone who really wants this knowledge of my language, and that I felt I have had a barrier of some sort, almost like a self-made barrier in a way, I guess, for so much of my life, and how this book has really kind of renewed my love and renewed my fascination in the Irish language, because that's definitely what it did. And I just think it's an amazing language. It's so beautiful. It's quite funny at times as well, so precise, and yeah, I really enjoyed reading it. It's such an unusual read, not one of my usual type of reads, and I definitely enjoyed picking it up. I underlined a lot of things in this book that I really liked, and it's a book I will be passing on to my gran and to my dad, because I think they will both really enjoy it. So yeah, that is definitely what I'm going to be going to do. So now I'm going to pick up The Glorious Skinks Girls by Emily Hourican. I've only read the first chapter or so of this so far, and like I don't really have any opinions yet, but I'm hoping I will enjoy it. And yeah, I think we will be probably enjoying himself anyway. We'll be enjoying some Guinness later for St. Patrick's Day, because we do have some in the fridge, so we will be enjoying that. I will probably just have wine or a gin or something. I'm not a huge Guinness drinker, though maybe for the day that's in it I might have a little one, I don't know. But I'm going to do, and I'm going to, as I said, I'm going to end this vlog here and just pick up again with the next one from today as well. I hope you guys enjoyed the first part of the Irish Readathon vlog. Definitely like probably the most boring vlog of the lot from the past few years, because obviously we haven't really gotten to do anything or go anywhere. It's funny, the last few Irish Readathon vlogs I've always travelled somewhere during it, and obviously this year we couldn't, so yeah, definitely a different one in comparison to the rest, but I hope you guys enjoyed it nevertheless. Please let me know what you guys have been reading so far, what you guys have been doing in March, even like what you guys have been doing to kind of occupy yourselves at home. Have you guys had any new hobbies or anything? I would love to know. Thank you guys so much for watching as always, and I'll see you guys again next time. Bye.